Yo, let's get the business.
Yo, let's get the business. I got a big dog in the building. I'm very happy to be accompanied by this guy. He's an anchor at ABC 36 News, to be correct.
Yep.
He's a former news reporter at NV, former sports director at WPMI, NBC 15 News, former sports director, anchor, reporter at 13 on Your Side, a former sports anchor at WYMT, former audio personality, Nation of Blue. That sounds like Big Blue Nation.
Exactly.
Is that what it is? Yes, the one and only Big Blue. Okay, yes. Former Bleacher Report.
Yeah, going way back.
That's that's pretty popular show though. I remember the Bleacher Report. Is that still rocking?
It is. I got in really early with that. It was kind of like a internship that I did during college. They were just taking a few people under their wing at the time, and
that's pretty cool.
Bleacher Report really wasn't what it is now. You know, it was just random articles. This kind of weird website that not a whole lot of people have heard about. It was on the come up, and I was able to get on there and do a few articles for them about stuff like the Bengals, University of Kentucky.
Who they?
Yeah, exactly. So had a good time with that.
That's pretty cool. I was going to ask you later on, if you were into sports and stuff. You know, I'm a big sports guy. Yeah. So how long did you cover sports? That's pretty cool.
That's what I started out doing. I went to Western Kentucky. Had no idea what I wanted to do when I went to college, and just kind of stumbled into it. A friend recommended it to me, and
awesome.
It was really, really far out of my comfort zone at the time. So I remember thinking, you know, I never did the morning announcements in high school or nothing on TV. And I just remember thinking, man, it sounds cool, but I don't know if I could do it. And I interned with the sports department in Nashville, the CBS affiliate there. And, you know, that was really cool. That was the moment where I was like, okay, I could see myself. I think I have a future here. Right. This looks like fun. I can talk about sports, get paid for it. So that's where I decided to carve my path. And
awesome.
As you mentioned there, I graduated. I sent out my reel all over the country, from, you know, top markets to you know, places that you probably never even heard of. And
so it's kind of like your demo, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
you were scratching the surface.
Yeah, exactly.
But you started to see the vision once you headed to Nashville that moment.
Yeah. So that was my internship. I graduated. I had this demo reel that I kind of slapped together in a few months, and so I'm sending it all over the country, and really wasn't hearing a whole lot back. And I was actually living in Louisville with my sister at the time, and I was bartending until I got my first job, and it was Nation of Blue, covering UK athletics. And at the time, they were just getting up and going. They were a website, and they wanted to get some radio presence, kind of like early days of the podcast, I guess you would say.
Radio personality?
Yeah. And there was a guy who had the connections and, you know, the knowledge and everything. They just kind of wanted someone to quarterback this show. So at that time, I was looking for any opportunity I could get. And I mean, it barely paid anything. I was living with friends, crashing on their couch.
You living in Lexington?
Yeah. Living with my girlfriend at the time. And
State Street? University Street?
No, not there.
You know, those are those hooligan, those are fan crazy places, right?
And this was in 2011, 12 when they won the national championship with
that was right
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. So it was a really fun time. But one of the engineers that we worked with had a TV background, and he actually had a camera and equipment, so he let me take that out, and I was able to enhance my reel that way. So I would just go all over UK's campus. I would go to Commonwealth Stadium after hours and pretend like I was you know, doing a post-game recap, go out to the baseball field, shoot stand-ups there. And ironically, that's what got me my first job at WYMT in Hazard, Kentucky. Did sports there. I went to Yuma, Arizona, did sports there. Went to Mobile, Alabama, did sports there. And then I went to West Palm Beach. And then from there, right around the pandemic is when I made my transition into news. And from there, I went to Miami and then DC and then back here to Lexington. So.
That is super remarkable. That's a fantastic journey.
Yeah.
And I just love how you started. You basically, you forced it. You seen the vision.
Yeah.
And you made it happen.
Yeah.
That's what I get from that. And also, look at the places you traveled. You ended up from those places and with West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
That's a nice place to end up.
Yeah.
Then you end up in Miami.
Exactly.
You know, so
yeah.
Wow.
My daughter's still there, so I'm there all the time, as much as I possibly can be. But yeah, it was just very, like I said, I went into college not having any idea what I wanted to do, and I did know that I wanted to do something that I enjoyed and that made me happy. And I kicked the tires on psychology and business and finance, and at the end of the day, I was just like, you know what? It's not me. I can't see myself doing it. So there was really no plan B for me. I just kind of held in there and probably for better or worse until I made it. And like you said, kind of made it happen. So
I mean, it was a leap of faith, but it was also the confidence that you had. I feel like it's a representation of that as well.
Yeah.
So, and now you've crept yourself into basically the news anchorman, media / journalism, whatever you want to call it, all in one, basically.
Right.
That's fantastic. I like how you deliver it, man. It's smooth, and you have that voice. You know what I mean? When I was doing the college thing, my first major was communications because I listened to my own voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so I feel like you listen to yourself too and was like, I can do this. I'm well spoken. I sound well on the microphone. Yeah.
Actually,
photogenic.
Yeah,
did you look at yourself as that?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's funny that you mentioned my voice. I feel like it's so much of this business is finding your voice, because when I started, I tried to emulate the people that I looked up to. Gus Johnson, Stuart Scott.
Stuart Scott's a legend.
Yeah, just any, and I remember when I was in Hazard, I voiced what we call a package, a news story that you kind of put your voice over. And my sports director at the time came up to me and was like, that doesn't sound like you. And I was like, well, that's what I want to sound like. But, and I didn't understand it at the time. But yeah, you can't force anything. It just kind of has to come naturally. And it comes with a lot of, what do you call it? Trial and error. But,
absolutely. Organically.
Eventually I think, I just found it. So.
That's awesome, man. What a cool personality and bright energy to have on my platform. That's what I'm saying. Because you're this cool. It has to say something about me because you're super cool. You know what I mean? So thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely, man.
So you said you graduated from Western and all that stuff. You crept into the media space kind of basically organically. Yeah. Major sports fan. So who are you rocking with?
Again, sports is my number one passion. So that's kind of how I got into this business. But I've always been a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan. UK basketball, football. Yeah, absolutely. Reds
in the building.
Reds. I've always loved the NBA. I was a huge Michael Jordan fan growing up, and obviously we don't have a team around here, so mostly just kind of followed players. So. Yeah,
awesome, man. I'm huge on sports, man. Yeah. So how you feel about it now? How the sports is? College is a lot different. You got NIL deals, transfer portals.
Yeah.
NBA is a lot different. There's a lot more jump shots, things of that nature. How do you feel about the transformation of sports nowadays?
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch something evolve. I feel like especially football, especially the NFL, it's like a completely different sport than when we were growing up watching.
Absolutely,
they've done so much to protect the players and protect the quarterbacks and protect the product on the field. At sometimes, it can be frustrating because you're just like, flag for everything. The defense can't really do anything, but I do appreciate everything that they've done to make the sport safer and, to create longevity in the sport. And, same basketball, I feel like that's a sport that's completely evolved from when we were growing up.
Absolutely.
The players that we were watching, the evolution of the big man in that game.
Yeah. The stretch big man.
Yeah.
How about the media side of it? That's a lot different as well. Because like we were talking about earlier, like we mentioned, it's a lot different. We have a lot of independency nowadays. People just kind of carve their own lane sometimes. Yeah. How do you feel about the new age media space?
It's great, man. I love it. And, I learn things from people who don't have a degree in broadcasting. And, when I started out in TV, it was, you had to go to school, you had to get your degree in broadcasting. And not to say that you shouldn't, but, so many more avenues have just been opened up. And, anyone with a phone and a microphone, can have their own podcast and get started in this space. And It's just really cool to see all the different creative outlets and avenues that people take. And it's such a wide open space that there's room for everybody.
Yes.
It's competitive, but, you can carve your own niche and, find your own space. And I think that's an awesome thing.
Awesome. Yes. A level of comfortability there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, this is my guy. Let's get the business. And so I seen your story, it may be a few years back, on the Eastern Kentucky University football. I thought that story was touching on Coach Wells. Yeah. He had a medical situation and he kind of overcame that. You've covered some interesting stories. Yeah. You know what I mean? You had a Lexington native. His name was Willie Caudell, to my understanding. And he was painting, artist painting the Derby murals. Yeah. It was a partnership with Woodford Reserves and the Churchill Downs, 150 milestone project. Yeah. I thought that was super remarkable. Yeah. That was super brilliant. So I seen you covering the Derby, to my understanding. Is that right? Yeah. You're highly appreciated. Let me stop and tell you that, man. People, the way you deliver the news, I'm telling you, people are tuned in. They're clued in. I seen you pop up on TV the other day. I was setting up my softball game. The women's championship was coming on. Texas Tech versus Texas. Yeah. And I was setting the game up, and I was like, "Hold on, that's Paxton. Right? That's my dog right there." Yeah. So yeah, man, I appreciate you doing your thing. Yeah. So I just feel like you were meant for the big screen. Like you said, it was naturally, organically, and that's crazy how that kind of comes about. You know what I mean? It's and I need to step my professionalism up when I see you with the suits on. When you got are they tailored? Is it tailored?
Yeah. Some of them? There's sometimes you get lucky and it fits right off the rack, but most of them, I buy them and take them right to the tailor, get fitted and everything right there, go back in a couple weeks and pick it up. Cause it's awesome. You got to have the fitted suit. Yes. And, sometimes you get lucky, but most of the time.
Sharp out there, man. Crisp and presentable. I got to step my game up. I got an awkward shape, cause I'm kind of thin, but then when I get to my upper body, I got wide shoulders.
Yeah, me too.
So that's good for Taylor.
Exactly.
Yeah. So nice, man. You cover the weather as well?
Never done weather.
No weather?
I do appreciate their abilities. Those are scientists, So,
it's got crazy. The weather has been a whole nother ball game.
Yeah. So I try to stick to what I know, and they're the professionals, and they're the scientists, and that's way beyond my scope there. So,
meteorologists and all that. I seen you interview, I think it was Tracy Morgan. I seen you interview.
Yeah.
At the Derby.
Yeah, that's the coolest part of the job, man, is, just celebrities and, your world opens to these people and these opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't have.
Absolutely.
And I was lucky enough to last 3 years I've been on the what's called the Barnstable Brown, which is the big gala the night before Derby. And it's kind of like the celebrity hotspot. So I've met a lot of cool people, but just as cool as that is like you mentioned, the stories with Coach Walt Wells, sitting down with him and being like, dude, you literally died in your office. You were laying dead on the floor. Your intern or manager comes in and finds you, and and they were able to revive you. Those are, and you're back on the sideline in like 2 weeks. Yeah. So
what a strong person. Yeah. The story is just it was heart feeling and just touching.
Yeah, and then stories like Wiley, a self-taught artist who's really made a name for himself in the art scene, especially here within the state. Being recognized, being chosen by Churchill Downs in the Kentucky Derby to commemorate their 150th anniversary. So just having the story to, the platform to tell people's stories. And I love the storytelling aspect. And even during my days in sports, that's kind of like what I tried to highlight. And I still love telling people stories.
That's awesome. I'm in high admiration of that. And it's highly inspirational as well. So man, like you said, not only the celebrities, but the stories is, man, there's probably some stories that stick to your memory as well that you just, you'll remember them forever, right? Yeah. Awesome. So a fun fact that you could share with us that people may not know about yourself?
Fun facts. I stay active as much as I can. I try to stay in the gym. Goals 5-6 days a week. As I've gotten older, that gets harder.
Absolutely.
I'm artistically inclined. I love to draw. I love to paint. That usually takes takes people back a little bit. But
Awesome.
yeah, I do love drawing. I do love painting, art in all of its forms. And actually, it's funny. I remember in 5th grade, you know, we're talking about news, and you know, news was always right there. It was just an avenue that I never took. But I remember every morning watching the morning newscast with my parents. You know, eating cereal, getting ready for school, and I was in 5th grade, and WLKY in Louisville here had a contest, and it was the artist of the week or something like that, where you send in artwork. And, you know, they pick one viewer and they bring them in and interview them on the morning show. So I drew the 2 anchors, and I still remember Shannon Cogan. She was Shannon Horry back then. She's Shannon Cogan now, and she's at Wave 3 now. Joe Orlando was her co-anchor. And then I drew the meteorologist with them, all 3 of them. And I sent a picture and sent it in, and they picked me. That's awesome. So I remember coming home from school one day, and my mom was like, "Hey, you should check the answering machine." Back when we had answering machines.
Ooh,
like,
I remember those days.
Yeah, so I was like, "What? Why do I have a message?" And so it was Shannon saying that I had been selected, inviting me up and my family to be on the morning newscast. So I was terrified. So we had to wake up, you know, so early in the morning. We were up there at like 5, 6 in the morning, and I remember my mom put me in a UK pullover and a UK hat, and here I am in enemy territory in Louisville. So
Mom's getting you sharp though. Yeah, you ready.
Exactly. And but I was terrified, and I remember they were just digging, just prying, trying to get something out of me, and I was just, you know, yes, no, what do you want to be for when you grow up? An artist, you know, 1-word answers, and I just remember that, you know, I was terrified, and you know, I remember at the very end she goes, "Is there anything you'd like to say to all of your classmates?" And I was so terrified. I just wanted to be done and get off that set. I was just like, nope. So I didn't say hi to all my classmates. And when I got back to school that day, because of course we went to McDonald's, and then my mom, you know, made me go to school and finish the rest of the school day. And my classmates were so mad at me. They all shunned me. They wouldn't talk to me.
Oh, you didn't give me any shout outs?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, you can't even say hi."
What's up, Pax?
Yeah, exactly. So funny to look back at that and see how far I've come along. So
that is funny, and that's super interesting because like you're complete opposite of that now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Look at the process. Yeah, that's funny though. What's up with my shout out, Pax?
Exactly.
You know? That's dope. So, your favorite place to travel and go on vacation, because you're traveling all over the place.
Yeah. Anytime I have free time, it's almost always Florida, because that's where my daughter's at. So, you know, that's always going to be at the top of the list. I have family in Phoenix, Scottsdale specifically. I went out there earlier this year with my sister. I worked in Yuma, which wasn't too far away, but I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time in Phoenix. So it was cool to see that part of the country, visit my family out there.
Nice area.
And yeah, man, I love traveling, but haven't gotten to do nearly as much of it as I'd like to. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Tough to balance out that schedule, isn't it?
Yeah.
How you do it? You sleep, you get a lot of rest?
I do. I work the night shift, the PM news. So, you know, I get out pretty late.
Oh, yeah, you're a vampire.
Yeah. So by the time I get home, you know, most of the time it's 11:30, midnight, something like that. Can't go right to bed. So you have to kind of wind down a little bit. And, you know, I'm trying to get better about that. But yeah, that's kind of dictated my schedule for at least the last 3 years. So.
Absolutely. That's the indicator of that consistency that you're built behind, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? You've put yourself on a clock.
Yeah.
And a pattern.
Yeah. And the morning newsers, God bless them, you know, they're up at 2:30 in the morning, start at, you know, 4 and go until 7. So
no coffee and cap for you? No cappuccino?
Oh yeah, I have 2 or 3 cups of coffee in the morning when I wake up just to get going. And
have to.
Yeah, I try to cut myself off by the afternoon. So.
There you go. Let me say this, though. I want to elaborate on this. You have one of the most important and interesting jobs on this planet has to offer. Do you realize that?
I do. Yeah. It's interesting when you frame it that way, because, you can't take lightly what you do. You know, news is important, and delivering the information and what people need to know in a timely manner and an effective manner. So, I do never try to lose sight of that.
Absolutely. You don't take that for granted. You have a tremendous amount of confidence and strength, like you said, to deliver on the negative news, everything, the shock value. There's basically, you're numb after a while. And, you know, I feel like that is an indicator of your strength. But to flip the coin, you also cover life-changing stories, heroic moments, educational information, helpful positivity, colorful events, you know what I mean? Like you said, artistry earlier, interesting personalities. And I'm sure you work with some fun people.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to be multifaceted because you never know what you're going to walk into. You know, a lot of times, you know, one of the things that I hear the most when I tell people what I do for a living, oh, I don't watch the news. It's too depressing. But so
a lot of people say that.
Yeah, exactly. But also it's important to know what's going on in your community. It's very important to know, you know, your kids go to these schools, what's going on.
Absolutely.
With these local leaders that we have elected, you know, so it's very important to stay in the know. But, you know, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, and I do understand that. But a lot of the time, you know, that's what's important. You know, when I was in Miami, a building collapsed and, you know, dozens of people died, and the Champlain Towers in Surfside. And I was out there every morning for a month, you know, telling the stories of, you know, people who haven't heard from their loved ones, where, you know, they were waiting for their remains to be dug out of this, you know, pile of rocks over it, you know, and it weighs on you. And, you know, it's something you can't just check out and go home. You know, that stuff comes with you, and it really eventually, over the span of years, shapes you. So,
absolutely. It hardens you. And like you said, the significance of the timing and importance. Yeah. So let's get to business, though. You're highly appreciated. Can you tell us a petty or a funny moment in the studio or on set to put a spin on it?
Oh man,
I seen when they bought you cupcakes for your birthday.
Yeah,
that was cool.
I brought cupcakes to my birthday, which that meant a lot because I was new. You know, my birthday is July 12th, and I think I had just started. I had only been there for a couple weeks, so that was a cool, warm welcome. But you know, it's always cool when, you know, when you're in news, you know, you're around these people a lot, and they become your family, and you know, those relationships definitely become important and special over time. I'm trying to think of a funny moment, though.
Shout out to the 36 News crew, by the way. ABC.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think of a funny moment. You know, obviously you try to be as professional as you can when the cameras are on, but we have a good relationship. You know, me, TG, the weather guy, Jeff, our sports guy, we're always, you know, laughing and joking behind the scenes.
I noticed that. It's a good chemistry.
Yeah, and then when it's time to turn it on, we know when it's time to do that as well. So
absolutely. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
I knew we loved it for a reason, people. You don't have to be nervous anymore.
Not a question.
It's clear now. Your favorite restaurant or favorite home cooked meal, whichever you prefer?
Favorite restaurant. Oh man, I love everything.
Yes.
Love Italian food. My mom's actually she makes great lasagna. She's actually
oh my lord, where's
making lasagna tonight for a bunch of family that we have in town. We're having people over tonight, so. But man, I love Mexican food.
Absolutely.
When I was in Arizona, spending that you know, portion of my career there, I love to try the local authentic Mexican spots, or even you know, go across the border into Mexico. That was so great. Then I love a good steak. You know, good steak on the grill, potatoes. You can't beat that either.
Nice and crisp. How you like your steak?
Medium rare.
Talk heavy.
Yeah.
I like mine all the way cooked. And people clown me like, "Hey, you don't want any blood on that?"
Yeah. People make fun of me for, it's still moving, you know. So,
we ate at Captain Quarters not too long ago. I really enjoyed it up there in Prospect.
That's a good spot.
Music genres. What do you enjoy?
Man, everything. Just depends on what I'm doing, what the vibes are.
Absolutely.
If I'm in the gym, working out, doing anything active, I like hip hop, I like R&B. If I'm just cruising with the windows down, a lot of, you know, I was brought up on a lot of classic rock, you know, something that's a little more
so there's some versatility there.
Laid back. And then, you know, we're in Kentucky, you know, growing up with my grandparents, there's some 90s country in there as well. Oddly enough, I'm not as big of a fan of some of the newer country, but some of the old school stuff, I still love that.
They're mixing a lot of the country with the hip hop. If you noticed that,
I've noticed that. Yeah.
The cultural shift right there. I like that. So let's get to business. Chicken wings, drums or flats?
I'm a drums guy.
Whoa, we've landed one. It's been a while. It's been a nice little minute, but yeah, I'm intrigued.
I hear a lot of people say flats, and that to me, it's I've always been a drums guy.
What is it, Pax?
I don't know. More meat.
Right, more meat. It does. Yeah, drums feel like I do feel like there's more meat on drums.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So, do you were sharp as a warrior sword at the Derby? Yeah, to throw that out there.
Oh, appreciate it.
Is that your favorite event to attend?
Certainly one of them. It's
you got music festivals and artist festivals, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, here in Kentucky, it doesn't get any bigger than that. Everything kind of revolves around that week, Derby week here in Kentucky. So I've been fortunate enough, I've been all over the place in my career, and that's been one of the absolute joys is being able to cover the Kentucky Derby and all the festivities that come along with that, back here at home during the last 3 years. So, like I said, I've been at the Barnstable Brown for the last 3 years and gotten to meet some really cool people doing that.
Anybody bucket list that you end up coming around? Like, oh my goodness, one of those moments?
I would say the ones that really stick out, Peyton Manning was absolutely awesome.
Ooh, go talk.
Yeah, I got to talk to him a couple of years ago. He was very gracious with his time. That was a really cool conversation to have.
Pretty cool guy.
Kay Adams, I don't know if you're familiar with her. Big fan of her. She was on the NFL Network. She's doing her thing on FanDuel now.
Sports reporter?
Yeah. Has a sports show called Up and Adams, and she's always been one of my favorites. It was really cool to talk to her.
Definitely need to tap into that.
And then Bob Costas, who in my opinion, best to ever do it.
Bob
and I told
Costas.
him that. Yeah. So
the dog, the legend.
Yeah. So those were just a few of my personal favorites.
Yeah, those are some big time names. Yeah.
Simone Biles this year, got to talk to her.
That's big time. Yeah.
Just really a who's who over the last 3 years. But those are probably the three that have stuck out to me. So,
awesomeness. Yeah. That's fun experiences right there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You get pictures with them?
A few, yeah.
A few of them?
There's a picture of me interviewing Peyton. I didn't get a picture with him.
Pretty tall, isn't he?
Yeah.
How tall is Peyton? About 6'4"?
6'5".
6'5". Yeah, I figured he was, man.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
You can see over the offensive line pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty cool, man. Hotel or Airbnb? You like to travel?
Back and forth, both.
Depends.
Especially when I'm in Florida, because I do love, the hotel life. I always scout out, make sure it has a nice pool and balcony and all that kind of stuff. But especially in the Florida area, you can find some gems on Airbnb as well. And a lot of times it's the same or cheaper than a hotel. So I always do my homework and I set aside my favorites, and my daughter certainly has a lot of input in that. She's partial to the ones that have the nicer pools and hot tubs. But,
absolutely, you gotta listen to her.
So we have a list of what works and
that's pretty cool.
What doesn't? So
look for maybe one on the water, one of those condos down
exactly.
there. Yeah. Khakis or slacks?
Little bit of both.
Word.
Yeah, you can make khakis. You can dress them up. You can dress them down.
Yeah.
And same with slacks, really. You can wear them with a t-shirt. You can wear them with a button-up. You can wear them with sweaters. It just depends on.
I'm learning,
either
Max.
for the right occasion.
I'm getting tips from you, man. I need to step my game up as I'm getting older and stuff. You know what I mean? Getting more casual, things of that nature. You have a favorite tie?
Favorite tie? It changes. It evolves. It's
people
funny.
Have lucky ties.
It's funny you say that. I do have a few go-tos, probably 3-4 that I really gravitate to, and I have to spread out how often I wear them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's funny you say that because I was looking through the closet the other day, and I found one that used to be my go-to tie. It was my favorite tie.
The matches with majority of your
And I would wear it every day for picture days, or if I knew we were doing promos or something like that. And I honestly can't tell you the last time I got that tie out of the closet. So it's funny how tastes change over the years. So,
right. I don't even know if I remember how to tie one, and that's I know.
Oh, I could do it in my sleep at this point.
I guarantee it. I bet you're like, she could just tie on first. Yeah. So horseshoes or cornhole?
Cornhole for sure.
Word. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Did you play a lot of horseshoes before cornhole was hot?
I do remember playing horseshoes like as a kid.
When you were younger,
I don't feel like we had cornhole growing up.
No.
But yeah, didn't play it a whole lot, but I did play it. But yeah, I definitely prefer cornhole.
Pretty good.
I think so.
Pretty nice with it.
Once I get in the groove. Yeah.
Did you play sports coming up? You play baseball?
I did. Yeah. I played baseball. I played soccer. I played basketball. Wanted to play football. My mom wouldn't let me. I played 1 year. I was so jealous of all my friends.
Yeah.
They would.
Oh, football's so much fun.
Yeah, I would hang out with them, and they'd come. Would bring the helmet and the shoulder pads. And I was like, man, I want to do that.
I feel
and we had a friend of the family who unfortunately had a accident where he kind of stiffened his neck and he couldn't really turn his neck all the way. And I just remember my mom saying, just remember Mike. I
understand that. Now, that kind of put a damper
so instead
omen on it.
Yeah, exactly. So instead I played soccer growing up. And then when I showed up to freshman orientation, I was always, a bit bigger of a kid. I was like about the size that I am now, about 6'1". Not stocky, but I was well built, athletic. And I remember our assistant principal came up to me at the time and he said, what position you playing? I was like, what are you talking? He was like, well, you're playing football, right? And I was like, man, my mom won't let me, but she's here if you can convince her. And somehow he did it. And I went out freshman year and I just felt so behind everybody else because, I had pretty much given up on football because I didn't think I was ever going to play. And, I was a soccer player showing up at football practice. So, I had the conditioning down and I could run, but, I was a defensive end. They put me out at tight end, a little bit of wide receiver. And I did what I could, but I just felt so far behind. The enthusiasm was there.
Right.
I don't know that the skill or the knowledge were.
The skill set, or the muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Those coaches, they stop you in the hallway. They automatically think you play. When you go football practice today, right?
Yeah. Next morning I was out there, yeah.
I feel you, though. If I had one regret, it would be I would play a lot more basketball.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Darts or pool?
Oh, man. I love both. I didn't start playing darts until probably a couple years ago. There's this tiny little dive bar in Florida that me and my friends would go to, and where you can get beers and drinks for like $2, and and they have a dartboard set up, two of them side by side, and it would just start as we would go. I didn't even know how to play, and
it is somewhat of a spontaneous bar sport, right?
Yeah. And next thing you know, we'd be like, we'd walk in and be like, all right, where the darts at? So it got competitive, but pool will always hold a special place as well. My dad's very good at pool.
Oh, I bet he's sharp. Huh?
I remember playing with him growing up, and so that'll always hold a special place in my heart as well.
I bet your dad's sick at pool, huh?
He is, yeah.
Tetris or Jenga?
Jenga's fun, but I'm gonna go Tetris. Yeah,
that's still classic.
Yeah.
One song you could go forever without hearing again.
Oh man,
I know it's petty.
Go forever without hearing. Man, there's so many. I feel like I was just thinking of one the other day.
It's probably your dream somewhere.
Yeah. The song "Happy" by Pharrell.
Yes.
Yeah, that got on my nerves really quick.
Bro, yeah. I don't like it either.
I remember that taking off one summer and everyone was listening to it. I was like, I don't get it.
I'm right there with you. Oh my goodness. Respectfully.
There's definitely a couple more once we hit end.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, but I'll probably think of more by the time we're done here.
That was hilarious though, yeah. Happy. Yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah. They were playing it everywhere too. That's where like the radio was just repetitively. Okay, so one has to go. Online shopping, like Amazon or tacos.
Ooh. Online shopping. We can do that. Can't give up the taco. Because you can still go shopping in person.
Yeah. The guacamole with the queso. Oh, heavens Lord.
I love the idea of online shopping, but sometimes I'll get something, I'll try it on, it doesn't fit, and I'm not the best about getting to the store right away to return things.
Oh, yeah. I suck too.
So it's like, all right, looks like I own this now.
Yeah. They gas you up with the Amazon, with The online shopping.
Yeah,
'cause
Amazon does make it easy. You know,
It
you can set it
does.
right back out there on your porch, or take it to Whole Foods. So,
Yeah. It's the free shipping too,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you do so much traveling. Do you prefer early flights or late?
Early. I especially if it's like a vacation that you're going to. If it's not a business trip, if you fly late, you get there, you go straight to bed. I feel like I wasted a day. So I'm not necessarily the biggest morning person. I've been trying to fix that, but I do appreciate an early start and getting a head start on things.
You're right. Who wants to get there and go to sleep?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
You find a destination, you're like, time to go to bed.
Yeah, or you get there at like 10 o'clock and you hit up all your friends. I'm like, all right, I'm here, I'm ready. And everyone's like, you talking about?
What you mean? So artificial intelligence is pros and its cons.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
How you feel about it? You have a pro and a con? Or mainly pros?
A lot of pros, but I am weary of the long term, where it could be headed. It's scary to think about.
Spooky.
And, it does help, especially in my industry, that I have producers that, not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, will use AI to write their scripts. That's kind of a, controversial topic in our business. And, I've seen a lot of computer fake news anchors that look like real people.
That's crazy work right there.
Yeah. So, you talk about broadcasting, but I'm sure that's not unique to that industry. There's a lot of, businesses, industries out there where you're just like, man, what role, purpose do I serve if,
That's
AI
an interesting perspective, though.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting perspective. Because it's like, I think about like controlling the narrative and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Like somebody could try to control, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any major events coming up that you'd like to promote?
Not really, man. Yeah, ABC 36 every night at 5:30 and 6 and 11.
Shout out to the whole crew, man.
Yeah. So
6 p.m.
Yep, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and 11 o'clock.
There you go.
All the evening newscasts. I get out into the community. I try to do as much as I can there, but
absolutely,
been doing evening news on ABC 36 for 3 years now. I've been back home doing my thing here, so I've enjoyed coming home and being back here in Kentucky, because that's one thing that I haven't been able to do, is come back here and kind of do this in front of my friends and my family and all my old friends that I've seen in high school and running into them and
your peoples.
It's definitely been one of the highlights of my career. So.
Awesome, man. I appreciate your time, man. The service you provide is very useful. It's important. Keep being brilliant. Keep being remarkable and significantly bright.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So thank you, Paxton.
Absolutely, man. Enjoy you as well. Appreciate you having me on. And time is our most valuable asset.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you making time for me. So.
Yeah, I have to tap in with you, get a quick update on those festivals coming up and all that. I'm pretty sure you got a heads up on that type of stuff. Yeah. But Paxton Lee Boyd. Let's get the business.